I am so gratefully a child of nonprofit. Because I was raised in nonprofit, this is something that I really wanted to do, and I'm really passionate about giving back because I know what they could do.
Being around people that provide opportunities for communities that reflect us, it just fulfills me in every sense of the word.
A lot of our community members, they look up to people who are doing the wrong things. It's important for them to see someone that's come from their community, someone of color, a woman in a leadership role, and they're still able to position themselves for success.
If you talk to our young people and say, what do you appreciate most about being here at Para Los Niños? They'll point to the staff. So it's incredibly important that once we identify a strong, committed staff person, that we do everything we can to ensure that they have a long, sustainable career here at Para Los Niños.
Nonprofit workers are often the most dedicated and passionate, who oftentimes share that experience of our underrepresented or underserved youth. The passion is there to help young people, to improve systems, to improve outcomes. But when we realize how much funding we're lacking to have a long-term sustained impact, that leads to opportunities for burnout.
Understanding the life circumstances that a young person has to go through just to come into our doors every day can weigh on any individual.
Nonprofits often have a lot of turnover because of our burnout.
So if you have this high turnover, you can't serve the youth who have the highest needs and would most benefit from your programs.
If we were better supported, we'd be able to have a more meaningful impact on all the social problems that the city has, the state has, the country has.
I think whether you're a for-profit or nonprofit, you're supposed to make people's lives better. But I think oftentimes the work that we do in the nonprofit sector doesn't get recognized at the level that the private sector does.
The nonprofit still has to function as any other business. The only difference is the tax destination. But our costs are not discounted. We pay the same health insurance, and we have to be competitive with wages.
The nonprofit is more intensive. You have to be always chasing funds. They also have to have a reserve fund so they can see the future, can incentivize employees.
Just because you have a charitable mission doesn't mean that you don't deserve a living wage. When you have that economic stability, you can show up to work and provide your best self to your clients.
I think, first of all, a quality job has to be something you like to do. It doesn't have to be pleasurable every single day, every single minute, but I would not be working at 83 years old if it weren't something I like to do.
Quality job would be something that gives you work-life balance, that doesn't allow you to neglect who you are as an individual, because as an individual you have to make sure that you're taken care of before you can take care of the rest of the community.
Having benefits in this position, it's important to me. I know it's there and I can focus on my other work with working with young adults and not living paycheck to paycheck.
Having a salary that allows you to pay your expenses, being able to feel like the services you're doing, you're able to spend enough time with individuals you're serving, and that you are really helping them towards achieving those outcomes.
LA is very expensive, and it's very difficult being a nonprofit to say that you're getting paid an equitable wage.
We're out here surviving, we're not living.
I wish I was able to save more. I have 2 daughters with special needs, and so for me to save, it's a little harder with the income that I have.
Luckily, I'm privileged enough to still live, with family. If I had to live on my own in the neighborhood that I wanted to, I wouldn't be able to with my current salary.
A lot of our staff live miles away from where they work at, so you can imagine the increased costs.
We're in this type of field because we care about the type of work we're doing. Sometimes the workload might be a little bit too much for what we're getting paid.
I believe added compensation where everyone is paid well does justice for our internal environment, meaning a healthier workplace, and that directly impacts the people that we serve.
When we look at just the living wage calculator by MIT, we can clearly see that there are certain levels of staff that are not paid enough to be able to sustain their families.
Salaries are set sometimes at lower wages where people are pretty much providing a service that they may need as well.
We do have professionals who go to work every day that are homeless or unable to afford the basic amenities.
Salaries are oftentimes determined by the funder.
And when we talk about government grants, they don't even cover the cost of living increase.
So I think it's inviting nonprofits to the table to re-examine that formula on what's considered a justifiable salary.
As a society, we tend to look to nonprofits when major issues come up, like COVID-19. They had those relationships with communities and were able to get in to be able to provide support. But yet, we're not showing that their staff is valuable. We're not showing that they deserve to have enough funding to be able to pay livable and competitive wages.
Nonprofits are producing incredible value for the community. We are reducing poverty. We are helping young people get into employment so that they are less likely to rely on public benefits or end up in the criminal justice system. And those are all savings to government, to taxpayers.
We have to make sure we are taking care of our staff that we're relying on to change the lives of our community and make an impact.
It's always about, you don't get in it because of the salary. And I think we have to start questioning that notion.
I wouldn't just want to get paid more. I would love to get paid more and be able to do more. And it goes hand in hand.
Some businesses' bottom line is how much revenue is earned every quarter. Revenue is important for all nonprofits, but the double bottom line is the satisfaction of how impactful we are in the community.
We really think it's important that the funding sources that are ultimately trying to prevent poverty in our communities are also funding our providers enough so that their own employees are not facing those same barriers.